In 2012, a white bus marked Yadav prowled Delhi's streets, hiding a horrific crime that would scar a nation. Jyoti Singh, a 23-year-old with dreams of healing others, boarded it, unaware of the 6 predators waiting inside. What turned a routine ride into a 45-minute nightmare of unimaginable brutality? How did a single night ignite protests that changed India's laws? Was this random cruelty, or a symptom of deeper societal rot? The terrifying truth behind the Nirbhaya case will leave you stunned, but the full story holds even darker secrets. Dive into this chilling true crime saga to uncover the fight for justice that shook the world. Watch now and subscribe for more gripping stories. Jyoti Singh was born in a small village in Uttar Pradesh to a modest family, where her father worked as an airport loader. At 23 years old, she was a physiotherapy intern in Delhi, representing the aspirations of many young women in India pursuing education and careers. The incident took place in Munirka, South Delhi, on a private bus that became the crime scene for a brutal gang rape and murder on December 16, 2012. Delhi in 2012 was a city of contrasts, with rapid urbanization bringing more opportunities for women like Jyoti, but also highlighting persistent safety issues. Reports from that time indicated over 500 rapes in the capital in 2011, though many went unreported due to stigma and slow police responses. Women often shared advice on avoiding risks, such as not traveling alone after dark or using public transport cautiously. This environment created an underlying sense of vulnerability, especially in areas like South Delhi, where busy streets could quickly turn isolated at night. Jyoti's family had sacrificed to support her education, selling land to fund her studies. She was determined, completing her physiotherapy training and interning at a hospital. On that Sunday, December 16th, she spent the evening watching Life of Pi at a mall in Saket with her friend Awindra Pratap Pandey, a 28-year-old IT professional. The movie ended around 8:30 p.m., and they headed to the Munirka bus stop to find transport home. Auto rickshaws were unavailable, so they boarded a white private bus marked Yadav, paying 20 rupees each. It appeared to be a regular charter bus calling out routes. Unbeknownst to them, the bus was occupied by 6 men who had already committed a robbery earlier that evening, taking money and a phone from a carpenter. The group included Ram Singh, the 33-year-old driver, his brother Mukesh Singh, 26, Vinay Sharma, 20, a gym assistant, Pawan Gupta, 19, a fruit seller, Akshay Thakur, 28, a bus cleaner, and a 17-year-old juvenile. These men, mostly laborers from slums, had been drinking and roaming, their actions escalating from petty theft. As the bus pulled away, the atmosphere shifted. The men began questioning why Jyoti was out late with a man who was not family. Awindra defended her, but the comments turned aggressive. The bus deviated from the expected route, heading toward quieter areas near the airport. Doors were locked, lights dimmed. Outside, the city's traffic continued, unaware of the unfolding danger inside. What factors contributed to this vulnerability? Public transport in Delhi often lacked regulation, with private buses operating without proper oversight. Poor lighting at stops and limited CCTV added to the risks. Previous incidents, such as assaults on women in the city, had raised concerns, but systemic changes were slow. Jyoti, aware of basic self-defense from her training, likely sensed the growing threat as the taunts intensified. Awindra stood to confront them, but the men outnumbered him. They retrieved iron rods from the bus toolkit. The situation was turning physical, with blows aimed at Awindra to subdue him. Jyoti tried to intervene, but the group focused on her. The bus continued moving, circling through South Delhi's roads, isolating the victims further. In the meantime, Jyoti's family at home expected her return, perhaps checking the time but not yet alarmed. Her parents, who had invested so much in her future, had no idea of the peril. The city's nightly routine, vendors closing shops, commuters heading home, provided cover for the bus's erratic path. How does a routine evening escalate so quickly? It's often a combination of opportunism and lack of safeguards. The men, fueled by alcohol and group dynamics, saw an easy target. Earlier that day, their robbery had gone unchallenged, emboldening them. As the attack began, Awindra was beaten unconscious, stripped, and left aside. The focus shifted to Jyoti, dragged to the back of the bus. The crime scene was this moving vehicle, a confined space that amplified the horror. Tinted windows and locked doors prevented any external intervention. The bus passed familiar landmarks, but no one outside suspected the violence within. Jyoti fought back, biting and scratching, but the assault continued for about 45 minutes. Around 9:30 p.m., near the Mahipalpur flyover, the perpetrators threw Jyoti and Awindra out, naked and injured, attempting to run them over but failing. They drove off, leaving the victims on the roadside. A passerby, Raj Kumar, discovered them around 9:45 p.m. and called emergency services. This setup of everyday decisions, choosing a bus, going to a movie, collided with unchecked criminal intent, setting the stage for national outrage. The tension that had built through societal neglect now erupted into a defining moment. Jyoti Singh and Awindra Pratap Pandey are on a private bus in South Delhi, having boarded at the Munirka stop around 8:30 p.m. They think it's a quick ride home after watching a movie. The 6 men, Ram Singh driving, Mukesh Singh navigating, Vinay Sharma, Pawan Gupta, Akshay Thakur, and the 17-year-old juvenile are already primed for trouble, having robbed a carpenter earlier that evening. Fueled by alcohol, their taunts start early, targeting Jyoti for being out late with a man who's not family. Awindra pushes back, telling them to stop, but that defiance lights a fuse. The bus veers off its route, heading toward less crowded roads near the airport. The doors lock, windows are tinted, cutting off the outside world. The men escalate from words to action, pulling out iron rods from the bus's toolkit. Tools meant for repairs now turned into weapons. Awindra tries to protect Jyoti but is overwhelmed. They beat him with the rods, targeting his head, arms, and legs, fracturing bones and leaving him unconscious. Stripped and tossed aside, he's out of the fight. Then they turn on Jyoti. Dragged to the back of the bus, she faces a 45-minute ordeal of gang rape by all 6 men. The violence goes beyond assault. They use the rods in their hands, inflicting catastrophic injuries. Her intestines are perforated, her body mutilated in ways that doctors later describe as unlike anything they'd seen outside war zones. Jyoti fights fiercely, biting the juvenile's hand and scratching. But against 6 attackers, her resistance can't stop them. One of the men, Akshay Thakur, later admits they intended to kill her to ensure silence. Around 9:30 p.m., near the Mahipalpur flyover, the perpetrators strip both victims and throw them out of the bus onto the roadside. They attempt to run Jyoti over to finish the job but miss. The bus speeds away, blending into Delhi's traffic. Jyoti and Awindra lie there, bleeding, barely alive. Jyoti, despite her injuries, whispers to Awindra, clinging to consciousness. How does someone hold on through such trauma? Her strength in those moments is a testament to her nickname, Nirbhaya, fearless. A passerby, Raj Kumar, a sheet metal worker, spots them around 9:45 p.m. Shocked, he covers them with his jacket and dials 100, India's emergency line. There's initial confusion. Police argue over jurisdiction, a common issue in Delhi, but ambulances eventually arrive. By 11:12 p.m., Jyoti and Awindra are at Safdarjung Hospital. Awindra, with fractures and bruises, stabilizes enough to give a statement, describing the bus's Yadav sign, the Haryana license plate, and the men's rough demeanor. Jyoti's condition is critical. Massive internal bleeding, sepsis setting in. Surgeons operate immediately, removing damaged intestines, but the injuries are overwhelming. By morning, December 17th, the news breaks. Headlines scream, "Woman gang raped on moving bus in Delhi." Social media erupts, with Pointer Delhi gang rape trending. At the hospital, Jyoti's on a ventilator but writes notes saying, "I want to live," and providing details about the attackers. Her parents, Asha Devi and Badri Singh, arrive, devastated but holding vigil. Asha prays as doctors warn that survival is unlikely. Protesters gather outside, students from JNU and Delhi University, activists, and ordinary citizens. They chant, "Justice for Nirbhaya," a name that sticks to protect Jyoti's identity and honor her courage. Why such extreme violence? Investigations later reveal a mix of alcohol, group dynamics, and a sense of impunity. The men, from marginalized backgrounds, carried resentment from their slum lives. But this was no excuse. It was predation. The bus, an unregulated private vehicle, was a perfect trap, highlighting Delhi's lax oversight. Previous cases, like a 2009 assault on a journalist, had raised alarms, but little changed. Now, this incident cracks the dam. Protests grow, spilling onto Delhi's streets. Crowds march to India Gate, facing police water cannons and batons. The anger isn't just local. BBC, CNN, and global media pick up the story, labeling it a crisis for India's image. On December 26th, with Jyoti's condition deteriorating, she's airlifted to Mount Elizabeth Hospital in Singapore for specialized organ transplant care. But on December 29th, she succumbs to multiple organ failure and brain damage from the trauma. The nation mourns, with vigils lighting up cities from Mumbai to Kolkata. What could have stopped this? Better bus regulations? More CCTV? A culture less tolerant of harassment? The incident exposes systemic failures, but it also lights a fuse for justice. The police are under pressure, and the hunt for the culprits is already in motion. That's where we're headed next. It's December 17th, 2012, and Delhi's reeling. News of the gang rape on a moving bus spreads like wildfire, with headlines blaring and social media exploding. Protesters, students, activists, everyday folks, flood the streets, chanting, "Justice for Nirbhaya," outside Safdarjung Hospital, where Jyoti fights for her life. The pressures on Delhi police, led by DCP Chaya Sharma, to catch the culprits fast. How do you track down 6 men in a city of millions? Awindra's statement is the first break. Despite his injuries, fractured ribs, bruises, he describes the white bus with a Yadav sign, a Haryana license plate, and the men's rough Delhi accents. Police teams move quickly, pulling CCTV footage from the Saket Mall and nearby roads. By evening, they trace the bus to Ravidas slum in South Delhi, home of the driver, Ram Singh. Raids hit hard, and Ram, a 33-year-old with a history of erratic behavior, is arrested first. Under interrogation, he crumbles, naming his brother Mukesh Singh, 26, who's nabbed hours later in the same slum. The brothers point to the others: Vinay Sharma, 20, a gym assistant, and Pawan Gupta, 19, a fruit seller, both rounded up from nearby shanties by nightfall. Akshay Thakur, 28, a bus cleaner, tries to flee to Bihar but is caught on a train the next day. The 17-year-old juvenile, reportedly the most aggressive, surrenders at a bus stand, perhaps sensing the noose tightening. Within 48 hours, all 6 are in custody. A swift response driven by public outrage. Evidence stacks up fast. Police search the bus and find bloodied clothes, the iron rods used in the attack, and a stolen phone from the earlier Carpenter robbery. DNA tests confirm matches, blood, hair, and bite marks from Jyoti on the juvenile's hand. Interrogations reveal a chilling picture. The men, drunk and emboldened, let group dynamics spiral into savagery. They admit to the rape and torture, with Akshay later confessing they planned to kill Jyoti to avoid identification. Why did they think they could escape? A culture of leniency toward crimes against women and minimal oversight of private buses gave them false confidence. The public's fury shapes the case. Protests swell, with thousands marching to India Gate and Raisina Hill, braving tear gas and police batons. "Hang them!" becomes a rallying cry. Social media amplifies it. "Our Justice for Nirbhaya" trends globally, with BBC and CNN calling it a turning point for India. The government, under fire, sets up a fast-track court, a rare move to expedite justice. Charges are filed under the Indian Penal Code: rape, murder, kidnapping, and more. The trial begins in September 2013, presided over by Judge Yogesh Khanna. Prosecutors label it a rarest of rare case, pushing for the death penalty. Awindra testifies, recounting the attack with clarity despite his trauma. Jyoti's written statements, made before her death, are read in court, her words hauntingly resolute. The defense argues the men's poverty and youth as mitigating factors, but the evidence, DNA, weapons, confessions, is overwhelming. A shock comes in March 2013, when Ram Singh is found hanged in Tihar jail. Authorities call it suicide, though some suspect foul play. Either way, he's out of the equation. In September 2013, the verdict lands: guilty on all counts. Mukesh, Vinay, Pawan, and Akshay received death sentences. The juvenile, protected by the Juvenile Justice Act, gets 3 years in a reform home, the maximum allowed, sparking public outrage. How can 3 years fit such a crime? Appeals follow. The Delhi High Court upholds the death penalties in 2014, and the Supreme Court confirms in 2017. Mercy pleas delay things, but on March 20, 2020, the 4 are executed by hanging in Tihar jail, the first executions there in decades. The juvenile, released in 2015, disappears under legal anonymity.